So when we get into business at the macro level, there's just tons of stuff you can get into. You know, and this is the wheel we've put together that represents all the different avenues that each quadrant of our business can go into. And when you first start a business, you don't need to think about all these things. The 4 quadrants that everything can be categorized in is finances and data, operations, sales and marketing, and team building and management. That's what we see. It's all going to fall into one of those. They can all get broken down into many, many different categories. And I will send all of you guys this slideshow so you'll have these graphics too so you can see. And by the way, it can get broken down more than this in each category. But what tends to happen in big businesses at some point is that each of these become a department. And I mean a really big business. You ever gotten too close to a carrier? If you work for a carrier, sometimes carriers can move really slow because they'll have a department that operates like it's a separate business from another department within the same company, and that creates a lot of, I guess, bureaucratic BS where they don't really move well. So we tried to avoid that, where all these departments and all these niches of things that we're focusing on in our business are the goal is for them to work together towards the same cause, okay? And that's what you don't want to lose sight of. But as you break this down, today I'm just going to focus a little more on sales and marketing and operations, okay? Just those 2 avenues. Businesses don't move people. People move businesses, okay? This is very important because who's put off hiring before? Who's put off hiring and regretted it before later on? Who doesn't know if they regret it because they don't know what they're missing out on? Well, I can tell you, when you don't hire people because you think you can do it better than them, you're missing out on a lot, because you might be right. You might be able to only do it, like they might only be able to do it 70% as good as you. When you have 10 people doing 70% as good as you, that's a lot more than you can do by yourself, right? And people are just massive currency in our business. Our team members we could not do, half of what we do. I couldn't do 1/10 of what we do at this point by myself. Early on it was a certain way, and I did a lot by myself. And I'm going to push you to do more by yourself in those first formative years for you guys that are in that first year or 2 or 3. But overall, there is a point where you need to hire, and you need to hire fast, and you need to promote faster, and you need to fire fast as well. And that part I struggled with the most. So here's our agency growth benchmarks. And I'm starting here at equal to or less than $1 million in revenue. We're talking gross revenue here. Nobody say, well, the net revenue is all that matters. My dad used to tell me that. He would say net percentage is all that matters. And one day I'm like, that's not true. If you made $10,000 and net, and you made $10,001 gross, your net margin's really high, but you still only made $10,000. Meanwhile, there's guys out there making $1 billion on 2%. So it's not all that matters. But the gross revenue metrics are important because it's taking into account all that you're going to put into a business, and everything up to $1 million, I'm going to talk about in just a minute. But these are benchmarks where we think you have to start worrying about certain things. Our agency, or our business as a whole, surpassed last year $10 million in gross revenue. And we've learned a lot. We've learned compounding amounts. The last couple of years, it just kind of goes like this as the learning curve for things that you never thought of and you're forced to. And nobody told us that you'd have to worry about it. And so these are things we have to do. When we're at $1 million to $3 million, we're worrying about process creation, hiring staff, developing core management. When you're at $3 million to $5 million, you're grooming your director levels. You're in the vertical integration phase, meaning you're taking things that you used to pay people for that you could probably do better. Not everything, but certain things you could do better, more efficiently, and having control over it will help your business. Technology automation is a big thing, and I'm talking way past what you would typically do in technology automation, all kinds of stuff. $5 million to $8 million, we view this as the area where you're looking at executive leadership. You're looking at horizontal scaling, meaning you're having to branch out into other arenas, like maybe you're getting more into annuities, you're getting into other things. And then we're looking at focusing more on our brand omnipresence and centralized reporting. And a lot of these things you'll look at and you'll be like, well, I'm doing those now. But I'm talking about making it an initiative so much so that you have directors involved in your business outside of you, that it's one of their core objectives. Not where I focused on brand omnipresence because I put up a billboard over there and I ran a radio commercial 3 months ago. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about really revolutionizing your business and being everywhere to the group of people you want to be everywhere to. Centralized reporting is a big one. Actually, we didn't focus on this until we got over 10 million, and it's been huge, starting to really know numbers more. Thankfully, we were extremely profitable up until that point, or it would have burned us a lot sooner. But having centralized reporting really lets you know where you can invest in your business. And then greater than or equal to 8 million in revenues, kind of where I'm stopping, because I'm over 10 and I'm still learning a lot. And there's more to learn, right? But acquiring competitors is what you're doing at this point. We bought our first agency in December 2021. It's huge for our business. Great learning experience, but also very profitable. Integrated technology, that's where we've started to take different platforms and merge them into one. Lawsuits. Make a lot of money, you're gonna get sued. That's just gonna happen, and so I throw it on here because there are gonna be people in here that are making nowhere near 8 million that will make $8 million in your business. We'll make 10 million, we'll make 15 million. And then you're gonna get sued and you're gonna get scared. But then you gotta remember, I have a lot of money and I can buy lawyers. That's all that matters. But I'm just saying. Now, don't do anything criminal, but no matter what, anybody can sue anybody. I can sue everybody in the audience for not laughing enough at my jokes today. So EVP additions, this is when you're getting your executive vice presidents. You're having to create, different levels of leadership. Customer service evolution and new markets. So we're focusing on new markets. It's just kind of this ladder, right? And we're using benchmarks at these rates, and it's not an exact science. It's just kind of the way we see it in the evolution of our business. And some of these are things that we should have done in that benchmark that we waited too long on, right? But in that less than or equal to 1 million, you're at a startup, you're looking at market presence and sales initiatives. So I'm going to get into under 1 million. I don't know why that is looking like that, so I'll just read it because I wrote it so I know what it says. Under $1 million, we are beating the streets to 100K, and we're not adapting our lifestyle. So who's making under $100,000? Nobody wants to raise their hand and say that. Look at that. I'm very proud of you. It's okay. I lived in a shitty trailer one time and used to think my grand aspiration was to make $60,000 a year. If you're making under $100,000 in your business, this is actually good, because some people in here are going to have a harder time unscrewing up their business at $400,000 or $500,000 a year than you do if you do it right from the scratch, okay? The first 100,000 is don't get blinded by lead programs and blah, 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 blah. It's really about going out and laying a proper foundation, building relationships, building referral relationships, building, going out to pharmacists, P&C agencies, whatever, doing what you have to do to lay the groundwork, and then maybe working certain types of lead flow. The lead flow is almost irrelevant at that point. It's just people to talk to and get to 100,000 in residual revenue in a Medicare business, because this is extremely important so that you can then take that 100,000 and live off 50 of it. I don't know how you were living before, but that's everybody's problem in business. You got to figure out how to live when you're